Today's guest is a former law enforcement officer, state instructor for criminal law, and the founder of Migraine Mastery, an organisation that has improved the health of thousands of men and women globally. And today she's going to share with you new insights, ideas and information to eliminate migraine headaches. Please help me welcome to the live stream Dr. Tanya Paynter. Good morning.
Hi Daniel. Thank you. Good to be here. Quite the welcome.
Yeah, it's I love all of these credentials here. What fascinates me the most is law enforcement.
I know.
State instructor for criminal law, and now you're a doctor. It's a fascinating journey. So, what were some of the highlights from law enforcement?
Yeah, I mean, the plan was always to be a doctor, right? That was kind of my little deviation from things. But my dad was in law enforcement, and I kind of fell in love with the job with him. So I went on to just kind of do patrol work, and I loved to teach. Ever since I've been little, I've loved. So I got involved in the BLEA Academy, the Basic Law Enforcement Academy, and taught criminal law there. And kind of just did both. And then decided, it's time to end that and continue pursuing my career of in medicine. And so here I am.
Wow, what a journey. Some of us take different routes to get to the right destination. I remember one of my first dreams was to help people, and I could see myself as being a doctor, but I couldn't see the part of me giving injections and pills, and I couldn't figure it out what it was all the way back then. But I knew I'd help people with their mind. And so instead of becoming a doctor, which it's still on the radar, it's a little bit further down the path, I detoured and I found coaching. And I found that it was another way to help people.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I've actually kind of come full circle with that too, right? Because now I'm not actually practicing so much as a doctor, and now I'm doing almost more of that coaching piece to be able to reach more people.
And you've had a very big reach, and one of the problems that you're solving for your clients is migraine headache. So on that journey, how did you end up with migraine headaches and specializing in this area?
Yeah, that started when I was 16. I was rear-ended in a car accident, and started having my own headaches. And that just kind of progressed into more severe chronic daily headaches with migraine flares. And so it took me probably about 15 years from start to finish to finally figure out how to treat my own. And ever since then, I had a soft spot for people that were struggling with migraines, because meds didn't work for me. Nothing I tried worked. It was miserable. And try patrolling with a migraine, like that's not fun. But so, I was always very successful with my patients who would come in for treatment for headaches and migraines, because I had such intimate knowledge of it and I had done a lot of studying on it. So that just kind of led me to move away from just primary care and really start focusing in on all of the women specifically, but men as well who need more care when it comes to migraines.
So there was that event that triggered the migraine. So there was the accident, and then there was the migraine. I had a lot of migraine headaches when I was younger, and I had twisted hips, twisted spine, twisted neck, and then the platelets of the craniums were pushing down on the left and right hemisphere of the brain. So I had to go through a lot of cranial massage, but it also impacted my ability to see. It wasn't that I didn't have 20/20 vision, because the vision was perfect, but I couldn't see because the pressure built up in here, and I'd end up with bleeding noses. And that was terrible at that stage, but I wouldn't have known what life was like without a migraine, because you can't compare your internal feelings to somebody else's. If I live with migraine, that's my reality. But that was as a child, and you've got very minimal functions that you have to do. You got to play, you got to eat, you got to go to school.
Yep.
For adults who are suffering migraines, what are some of their signs and symptoms? Because I believe that a lot of us, we live with these migraines, we normalize it, and we think this is just normal life because we've had it for so long. What are those signs and symptoms?
Yeah, migraine is very underdiagnosed. So the diagnostic criteria for migraines requires that you have migraine, that you have headaches with pain, but that you also have some other symptoms along with it. So it's not treated by medication, right? You can take the over-the-counters and the pain meds. They don't really do anything. They usually come with nausea or vomiting or some other type of GI kind of upset. Oftentimes they're one-sided. They can be both-sided, but oftentimes they're one-sided. And basically, when you have multiple, there can be with or without aura. They can sometimes be silent, where you don't actually have pain, you just have a lot of neurological dysfunction and things. Sensitivity to light, sensitivity to sound. So all of those things in constellation make up what is a migraine diagnosis. So if you're someone that has a migraine or has a headache that doesn't really respond well to anything that you try for it, and you have these other symptoms, nausea, vomiting, you can't eat, light sensitivity, you've got migraines.
I was reading the Journal of American Medical Association, and they said that migraines impact 10% of people worldwide, and it's occurring most between people aged 20 to 50. And then it's 3 times more common in women than men.
Yep.
These people who are suffering the migraines, where do they tend to start their journey? Because I know a lot of people that I speak to, they wake up in the morning and they say, I feel stuck and I don't know what to do next.
Yeah.
How do your clients become aware of this?
Well, it's in most cases, I hear the story that they've had them since they were a childhood or a young adult. And they just kind of lived with them. Again, they thought it was kind of normal, or maybe they didn't think it was normal, but they just nobody was really giving them the resources they needed to feel better with them. And so then they go through their 20s and they just kind of suffer through it. Sometimes they would get better, when they had kids and they were pregnant and they felt better. And then after they were kind of done with the childbearing piece of it, then they would come back full force and kind of get chronic after that. So that's a very typical picture. The other very typical picture is that it started after they gave birth. So, those major hormonal changes were kind of what set it off for them. Those are kind of the 2 most common things that I hear from people approaching me. And then they've tried everything. They've tried all the different medications. They've tried acupuncture. They've tried chiropractic. They've tried all of the self-help books. They've tried diets. None of it is working for them. And then they end up finding me, right? The last ditch effort. Ooh, somebody help.
Do they try affirmations like, I don't have a migraine headache? I don't have a migraine headache. It's interesting what people do on their journey before they seek professional advice. And I know a lot of people who get cryptocurrency advice from their Uber driver. I know people who get business advice from their friends who are bankrupt. It's definitely not the best advice for them. With these migraine headaches, how does it impact them emotionally? And the reason why I want to explore the emotional side of it is a lot of people find it very difficult to express their emotions. I know for me, when I feel run down, every now and then I'll get a sty in my eye. And I'll feel an itchiness in my eye. I'll get a little bit of dry eye. But the first thing I really become aware of is my mood. My mood. I get the blues. My emotional energy drops. And normally I go through this dip for about 1 or 2 days before the sty shows up. So my mood disappears. I'm not bright and bubbly for a couple of days, and that's my emotional warning sign that the sty is coming. And then on the third day, I'm down at the eye doctor. It's interesting. It really zaps my mood. I had one the other week, and I was about to go on holidays. It was on a Thursday. I was going away, but the mood dropped on a Monday, and I thought, I know what's coming. Because I'm not bright, not bubbly, feeling a little bit blue. With the migraines, how does it impact them emotionally?
Yeah, I mean, it's very, very common for depression, anxiety to come along with that. Because, migraines, neurotransmitters are involved very heavily in a migraine year. They're not quite normalized. And so when we have dips and drops in serotonin or in some of our other neurotransmitters, then we end up getting a lot of those emotional impacts. And so, one of the big red flags that I perk up whenever I hear, oh yeah, I get really, depressed right before my migraine starts. I can tell it's coming because my mood changes. I know immediately that they've got a serotonin issue going on, right? And so then we need to work on helping to balance that pathway and to kind of support that. And the same thing goes with the anxiety piece. I feel super anxiety, almost panic attack before a migraine comes on. And that's what my biggest signal is. And again, we know the neurotransmitters involved with those pathways and how they interact with migraine. So there's a lot of things that we can do to kind of identify those kind of co-symptoms that come along with that even people that don't realize that they're related to the migraine can actually be related, and can give us a really good clue as to some of the biochemistry behind what's causing their migraine.
We talk a lot about emotional intelligence in our community, and one of the things I've learned is that people who have emotional intelligence that is less active, they're not aware of these emotional signs that correlate with illness or disease. And sometimes I think we refer to them as a referred pain. So my father was going in for a back operation, and he waddled in to see the doctor, and he said, "Mr. Tolson, where's the pain?" And he said, "I've got a pain in my ankle." He said, "I'm pretty certain we're here to talk about your back." And he said, "Yeah, but my ankle hurts." So even these pains in the body, we might be getting a referred pain, and that could be our warning sign. Okay, I'm feeling physical pain over here, but it may not obviously be the root cause of it.
Right.
When people are coming up for these migraines and they're going through this emotional dip, and then they're making their way to see you, what finally happens? What happens when they make that decision to come and see you? Is there a catalyst? Is there something that happens? Is it a duration of time that they've had the migraine for? Does a friend or a family member say, you should go and see a doctor? What normally happens before they come to you?
Yeah, most of them have been down the path of multiple doctors, multiple neurologists, and they just have not seen any relief. And they know that there is something else going on with their body that's causing these migraines, or at least contributing to it. And so usually what I hear is that they've exhausted everything that they could find, and they're still holding on to that hope that something is out there, that they know that there's got to be more, and they just keep looking and keep looking. And then they somehow run across me and they say, yes, this is exactly what I'm talking about. I know that my gut needs help. I know that I have hormonal imbalances. I know that my neurotransmitter, they might not know that, but they know that there's something else going on with their body that is contributing to that migraine syndrome. And so then that's usually what drives them when they've exhausted every other option, the gadgets and the supplements and the medications and, what have you. And none of it is providing lasting effects.
The gadgets, I've seen these gadgets on Facebook.
Yep, there's a lot of them out there. Some of them actually work really well, but it has to be the right gadget for the right type of migraine, right? So that can be tricky too.
I think the very best gadget I've seen recently is on the Facebook ad. Gentleman's wearing a pair of sunglasses. He takes the sunglasses off, folds one arm in, pulls a lighter out of his pocket, and then turns his glasses into a bong. And he rips a bong. It must only be legal in California.
Yeah, or
myself,
Colorado.
what an interesting device. And then you get the ones where it's like a big inflatable balloon that you wrap around your neck, and then it cracks your neck as you pump it up.
Yeah, a little distraction there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, once they come to you, I know your success rate with migraines, headaches is upward of 86%. So once they come to you and you help them overcome these migraine headaches, how do they start to feel, and how does their life change once they work with you?
Oh, that's my favorite part is, seeing the life that they had before, right? Where they're living at home, they're socially isolated because they don't want to make plans with people they know they're going to have to cancel on, or they don't have to be, they have to worry about, well, if I go to that concert, it's probably going to trigger a migraine. Like, I don't even want to even think about that. I actually just had a client reach out and say, I got to go to the first concert that I've been to for almost a decade and came home, no migraine. I mean, it was just, I have a 26-year-old who was able to finally move out of her parents' house for the first time in her life because she was able to care for herself because she didn't have these migraines all the time. So it's just amazing the turnaround when you are not fighting a constant battle of pain, that you can be functional and you can live your life and you can go on trips and you can enjoy yourself the way that we were meant to enjoy life.
I like that motivation there. A 26-year-old living at home with their parents. Ladies and gentlemen, I know there's some people here still 36 and 46 living with your parents. Maybe they're the root cause of your headache. Talk to Dr. Tanya and move out. I've got a 5-year-old and a 9.5-year-old, and I think they might contribute to some of my partial deafness. We live in a loud house.
My husband says the same thing. Yeah.
My mum says my dad's deaf, and I say he's not deaf. He's just got selective hearing.
Selective hearing, that's right.
He hears when you mention tractors, farms, cows, or cattle, he'll give you all of his attention. But if you're talking about something of no interest, his hearing just disappears. Yep. But he can still hear the television.
That's right. That's right. The important stuff.
Now, for our guests who have migraines and they want to reduce the rate of migraines, can you tell us more about migrainemastery.org?
Sure. So, we have it's kind of a combination between a group program and individualized, right? Because we know quite a bit about migraines. We know a lot of what contributes to them. And there's some basics that is probably not surprising for people that are dealing with migraine: diet, stress management, sleep, proper thyroid, all of that stuff. So there's the basics that everybody needs to go through to optimize. And then there's the rest of it, right? That individual piece. So with Migraine Mastery, we built both of them in so that everybody goes through the basic stuff that we know needs to be addressed in pretty much every person that has migraine. And then there's the individual piece in the second half of the program, where as they are learning more about their body and what is triggering them, and they're starting to identify some of those patterns, they're starting to become more body aware, and they're giving that information to us, we're able to, with our experience, able to kind of put that into a picture, a full picture for that person, do some additional testing, and really hone in on those areas that are problematic for them. And then we start to really individualize from there and say, okay, here are the issues that you've got going on, and this is how we're going to address them. And I think that combination of working on all of the fundamental baseline things, plus that individualized piece for them as we start to see that picture coming out, I think that's why it's such a successful approach, is because we're doing all of it, right? All of the above.
I think it's very important. And for our community members, the difference. You can learn yourself, but you've got to pay the full price, which means you might have to spend 10, 20, 30 years of learning by trial and error. Or you could just go straight to the source. And Dr. Tanya has success rates here of above 86% in reducing migraine headaches. And I encourage you to go to migrainemastery.org and learn more about it, especially if you're a migraine sufferer. I don't have to convince you that you're a migraine sufferer. You already know that you have migraines.
Sure.
So time to overcome them. Dr. Tanya, thank you so much for sharing your advice and your journey. We really appreciate that. And ladies and gentlemen, I'll put migrainemastery.org details for their website in the show notes. So you can click on that and head to the website now. Dr. Tanya, thank you so much for being here with us today. Have a wonderful day, and we hope to see you again soon.
Thank you, Daniel. It's been a pleasure.
My pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, remember, one new idea at the right time is enough to make you rich, but it could also make you very healthy. Have a wonderful day.